Okay, so we finish until the path of no more learning. Then Nibani. So here the second. So the second one is, let's go back in the structure and find, okay, this one. Yes, so, and then for that, Kemp only said there was two parts of the benefits, those of reciting for a given period a certain amount of praises every day, which was the first thing that we have finished. And then the second part is to continuously recite this praise. Okay. Kento Debing yes, and then of course, as we see here, so this second part starts by here is what I can explain for the benefits of reciting them continuously. And then like 2 points, and then we have the whole explanation, and then it will end like it did here on the one with Yimbichiro for that reason. And so it is just kind of mirroring the first. I have something to say, which is the following, and it ends by, here's what I had to say. So literally, this part says, here, there is a reason why there are benefits, which is the jnana. And then it ends by, it is for that reason that I has that to say, that I could say that there were benefits. So it is, I'm in this time, I'm just ignoring it because it is an answer to the starting, which said that there is, I'm saying this for a reason, and the reason is what is following. Okay. So on top of that, or not being limited or to that, here is how the benefits of reciting the praise continuously. Okay, and then here by continuously, Campbell was saying that it's like when we eat, we have to eat continuously until the day we die. So here continuously means all the time, just in the same way. So it will be continuously until the end of our lives. Okay. And then like the previous occurrences, when the author was saying, here's how the benefits, is how the phrases continuously, is how are brought. I was trying to put occur there. Here's how the benefits occur. But if I put that, then we wouldn't know if it is the benefits that occur or the continuous praise that occur. So I think R broad is fine. Okay, 내 당전을 다 전주선 이지 교정바 가시기 지시 소엠벌 니레션도 숨 떠봐보 데라니 건도인지기 시베이한텐 대다 덴베 the person who has trained his being mind with devotion, diligence, and to chitas, Kanshikis, any person who has, generation of the Mobodanas, who recites the praise three times so as long as 3 times a day, as long as he is alive, will endowed with all the qualities that were described above. Because of that, okay, this is for Tempe. Then here, Kembo is giving an explanation of what is faith here in this context. And so Kembo was saying that there are 3 types of faith: the faith of enthusiasm or inspiration, the faith of being certain of something, and the non-returning faith. And then he was saying, well, of course, out of this 3, it would be best to have the non-returning faith, isn't it? It's kind of interesting to see how only this one, which is based on reasoning, has any real value for him. But this is just Kempel's character of not liking to sit and do rituals, etc. Okay, so this is for devotion. And then as for diligence, so as we had said before, the definition of diligence is to enthusiasm to do positive things. And Campbell put that in opposition with, let's say, dugru, which is the ability to withstand difficult situations. And he says, well, if you have to do something, you can't avoid and then you end up doing it even though you don't like it or you feel bored with it, then this is not diligence. This is just the ability to withstand difficult things to do. And Campbell said that the devotion and the diligence were included in the faculties and strength that we have seen above. And generally speaking, Campbell was saying that whenever we're trying to do something in the context of a spiritual path or religious path, then there's no way we can do anything without these two things, faith and diligence. And then, yes, okay. And then faith and diligence and the two bodhicittas. So the two bodhicittas, Campbell was saying that at first he thought it might mean the general two bodhicittas that we know, the bodhicitta of in aspiration and the bodhicitta in application. But then he said that looking at what comes afterwards in the text, then it appeared that it was not these two, but the relative bodhicitta and absolute bodhicitta. And so for the absolute bodhicitta, it is the realization of the emptiness, which is the non-existence of all phenomena. And for the relative bodhicitta, then you have the bodhicitta in intention and the bodhicitta in application. And the bodhicitta in intention, as Campbell was saying, is the thought of obtaining enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. And so for this bodhicitta in intention, you don't actually do anything. You don't act on what you intend to do. And Campbell was explaining that it is what we are training when we are practicing the four immeasurable thoughts. And so when we are developing these four immeasurable thoughts, we're not actually going out and doing something to help others. We're just developing this bodhicitta in intention. And then the second type of, the second kind of relative bodhicitta is the bodhicitta in application. And then this is going out there and actually putting in and applying in the real life the bodhicitta, doing something to be beneficial of others. Okay. And Gyujang, so to has someone who has trained his mind, his being. So he literally, it is to train. Yes, it's like you have Lobjong, which is studies, and here it's Gyujang. So you train your being. We would have a tendency to only say to train one's mind, but here Gyu means our whole being. So train not only our mind, but also our body and our speech. It's more inclusive. But I don't know how to put that in English. So I left with the other solution of training his being and his mind. Okay. And so this training happens with the three things we have seen, the devotion, diligence, and the two bodhicittas. And then as long as one is alive, and so Campbell said that it was a synonym of saying until we die. And then when it read, he will be endowed with all the qualities that were described above. There again, Campbell was saying that, well, what we would be doing if we recited 3 times this praise for all our life would be to accumulate the merit that would allow us to develop those qualities. But simply making a prayer 3 times a day will not be enough to make us actually obtain the qualities in really. So because of this being obvious, Campbell interprets this part of this passage as meaning that it's not that we're going to obtain the qualities directly just because of reciting 3 times this praise, but the seed of us obtaining it is put in our being, is planted in our being. That's how Kempo interprets it. But since it is interpretation for us who are translators, then we cannot translate the interpretation. We have to translate what is written there. If we find that this kind of comment of the Kempo is really interesting, we might want to put into a footnote, but we cannot keep it at what he said. Okay. Tendam Sinkian La De Shapani Kombe Nirlen Kinkyo Tang Tap Minji Chenbe Minji Chenke Chene Longa Trup through the absolute ultimate bodhisattva. And here it's interesting to see that bodhisattva usually is Janchugi Sem, but here it's Semke. So Semke is an equivalent in the usage of bodhicitta, but it refers to the vow of having taken bodhicitta, because it is to have developed the mind of enlightenment. Yes, and then just like that, we will not say, for example, there's a ritual of the bodhicitta using Janjugi Sem, but we'll say it is a ritual of taking the vow of bodhicitta, Semke Choga. Will not say Janjugi Sem Choga, Jangsem Choga, it will Semke Choga. It's just a difference in usage. Okay, true the ultimate bodhicitta. Donyi Kombe, Neben Kikyo Dance. Some on the Kombe emptiness will be the main cause and under great compassion with the wisdom now as the main cause and the great compassion as the helping cause. So the helping condition. And one will accomplish the 5 parts. Okay. So through the ultimate bodhicitta, one will, so the sentence, if I simplify it, is through the ultimate bodhicitta, one will accomplish the 5 parts. Or I can put it, I can put that on top to make things clear, maybe. Or if under singularity, yes, no. I do not want to do that because the next part starts by through the relative bodhicitta. So this seems to be the organizing criteria for these two paragraphs, not the fact that we accomplished the 5 parts. Okay, so through the ultimate bodhicitta, with the wisdom, which is the meditation on, which is meditating. With the meditation on emptiness, acting as the main cause, and the great compassion acting as the helping condition, one will accomplish the 5 parts. Okay, so what Campbell is saying here is that so here obviously we're first talking about the wisdom and the great compassion. Yes, I forgot one part. Methods, the great compassion. Yeah, so we have first the wisdom, then the methods that come into play. So as for the wisdom, which is meditating on the emptiness, then Campbell was saying that, so realizing emptiness is, as we have seen before, it is seeing the nature of phenomena without seeing anything. So it is the seeing without seeing. And so this is what is referred to by realizing emptiness also, yes. And here in this context, so to meditate on emptiness could mean to realize emptiness, either fully or partially. But whatever the case, meditating on emptiness and realizing to some extent emptiness is the part of the wisdom, which is the cause, the main cause for obtaining or for going through the 5 parts. And then through meditating on emptiness, then one will have the ultimate bodhicitta that is born in us, or one will be developing the ultimate bodhicitta. But like Campbell was saying, whether we talk about the ultimate bodhicitta or the realization of emptiness, these are referring to the same thing. It's just 2 different ways of saying it. So,
excuse me, the interruption. Can you say it again?
Yes. So, on these 2 expressions, developing the ultimate bodhicitta or realizing emptiness is the same thing. When you have one, you have the other. They're referring to the same thing. But then Campbell was saying that yes. So here the key term for Campbell is this meditating upon the emptiness, which means that it is still an ingoing process. And it means that even if we are realizing to some extent, not fully, but to some extent, emptiness, then this is already part of the cause, which is the part of the wisdom, out of the wisdom and skillful methods. So this would be the part of the wisdom, and this meditation on emptiness is going to be the main cause for us going through the 5 parts. And so here, as we can see, yes. Then here there is this gompe again with pasape, and not, so it is the subject particle and not the connecting particle. And then Campbell was saying, well, there might be another way of putting it. And if we use the kinetic particle instead, then we could say that the cause, the main cause is the meditation, the main cause of the meditation of emptiness, which is the wisdom. So we could read that in that way. But then looking at downwards, what is said about the other part, then it would kind of, it's not repeating the exact same pattern, because we have first the 5 parts, which is through the ultimate bodhicitta, and then the 10 bhumis, which is through the relative bodhicitta. And so it doesn't keep the same pattern, and so it is better to keep it here as a true meditating on emptiness, then then we get the main cause for going through the 5 parts. Okay, so what did I put here? With the wisdom acting as the main cause. So Nirlingigyu, and here Nirlingigyu is yes, okay, yeah, it's going to come later, the main cause, and then the great compassion. So Kempo was saying here that this great compassion, which is the skillful means or the methods, this great compassion is not the same as regular compassion, in that it becomes great compassion once it is aiming at the entirety of all sentient beings, the infinity of all sentient beings. If it is not aiming at the infinity of all sentient beings, then it is just compassion, not great compassion. And yes, chicken, and then here as the helping condition. So this helping condition is in opposition with the main cause. And so here Kempo was saying that the main cause is, for example, when we have a seed of barley that is going to sprout, the main cause for the sprout is the seed itself. So the main cause is what is going to transform into the result. That's the main cause. And the helping condition is anything else than that that is required for the sprout to come up, such as water, warmth, the sun, the soil, etc. So all of these are also causes, and here the concept of cause and of condition is like overlapping. So it is also a cause or a condition, but it is not what is going to turn into the result. It is not the seed itself that transforms into the result, into the sprout, but it is something that is going to help. It's an adjuvant element or factor or something like that. And I'm sure that the helping condition is something that no one has dared to put because it looks so ugly. Yeah, let's try to put something that looks better. Adjuvant condition or something like that. Yeah, and let's see what what the dictionary will tell us. Okay, here's the dictionary. Auxiliary condition looks much better. I have something here. Okay, auxiliary cooperative condition or factor. Yes, cooperative condition. Yeah, okay. Auxiliary condition. Maybe adjuvant is too French. Auxiliary. Okay. As the help becomes one will, okay. Yes, okay. And then now the 5 paths. And so here, since the author of the commentary is making a direct link between the great compassion and the 5 paths, then this brought the following commentary from the Kempo, who said that so the 5 paths start from the small or the lesser part of accumulation up to the end of the 5th, which is no more learning path. And so from the part of accumulation onwards, then one requires to have this great compassion of wanting to have all sentient beings, on the infinity of all sentient beings. And this is needed even at the very beginning of the lesser part of accumulation, because if we do not have that, then we cannot say that we have bodhicitta and then we are bodhisattvas, even ordinary being bodhisattvas. And so because in order to become a bodhisattva, one needs to have bodhicitta, then great compassion is needed, even at the very beginning of the practice of the 5 paths. And this great compassion is going to be needed and is going to keep being in need until we reach the full enlightenment. Okay. So that was for this part here. And now the last one. Then top. Linking 교통 here 통인 건배 인지 체계 제대 사주토. So this is the second part. Through the relative chitta, how did I, with compassion, with the method compassion acting, how did I put it? Yes, acting as the main cause and with wisdom, meditation, and emptiness, acting as the auxiliary condition, will obtain the 10 bhumis. Okay. And so Kempo was saying that here the bodhicitta or yes, vow of citta, through the relative vow of the bodhicitta, with the methods acting as, which the method which is the compassion and that is acting as the main cause, and with wisdom, which is the meditating and meditation on emptiness acting as the auxiliary condition, then one will obtain 10 bhumis. And so 10 bhumis, Kempo was saying, that are perfect joy as the first one, etc. So let's see how they are. Yes, they're named here as well. So the first bhumi is perfect joy here. Then the second bhumi is immaculate. Third bhumi is illuminating, etc. Radiant, difficult training, clearly manifest, far progressed, immovable, perfect intellect, and cloud of Dharma. 10th bhumi. Okay, and then it is at this point that Kempo said that he did not feel he had translated well enough. I mean, explained well enough this difficult subject of the path and bhumis, path and bhumis, and so he will continue tomorrow. Okay, so we'll make a break, and then after, yes.
The division of the sentence, the piece at the end, when accomplish the 5 paths and accomplish the 10 bhumis, could it come after through the relative bodhicitta, the vow of bodhicitta, one attain the 10 bhumis with the methods, compassion,
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and then it makes things clearer. Let's do that. Okay. Thank you. Yes.
Also a bit up, when you were talking about the being and mind, the words in Tibetan are
Gyu.
Which refer to being and mind are...
Gyu is the continuum both physical and mental that constitute a person. Yeah, so this is also kind of a headache for translators. I don't know how to translate it. Usually I translate as being, but I have to put in a way, paraphrase around so that it doesn't seem strange. Okay, so we make the pause, and after we come back to what was not yet clear.
Okay.
See you in 10 minutes.
See you in 10 minutes.
Okay. I didn't check really if 10 minutes have passed or now. So, how can I help you? Is anything clear that we want to go through again?
There is one part that I'm a bit in doubt. I didn't understand quite well, which is right after by reciting 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And then you have the weaving. This part is okay. Then similarly, as represented by this faculty and strength of wisdom, one will obtain the other faculties. I think represented. What is exactly this represented by this?
Actually, this is
represented.
This is the Tibetan way. I think there's some echo. Switch. Simultán, por favor. Okay. So yeah, this is the Tibetan to say when Tibetan, when you have you want to say something about, let's say, the 6 parameters, you'll say the generosity implies this and that, and then in the same way that yes, and then what I have just said goes also for the 5 remaining ones. So what I will have said for the first one, just like I have represented what I wanted to say for the first one, is I want to say the same thing for the 5 other ones. So it is just to say, okay, the first, what I said about generosity was just an example, or it is just one out of the 6 things that I wanted to say, but the 5 others are actually the same. So we can just apply what I have said first, and we have the meaning for the rest of them, which is why I put in before the slash, I put similarly.
So I could just say in the same way, the other faculties and strengths such as faith. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
In the same passage, just a bit above, when reciting these 1,000 times, the first sentence has no verb.
Okay. Yeah, the faculty of the wisdom for reciting 1,000 times. Yes, and so this is because the verb is at the very end of the enumeration, and so if I want to put it also here, then I will need to put into brackets that.
Okay.
But to me, this action of the quality is not something that is very clear, actually. I'm not really sure I understand this passage properly. So maybe I'm going to ask what this means, because it is not clear for me whether obtaining the 5 faculties is the action of the qualities, or if, yeah, what is this function of something? What is the action of the qualities? What kind of, what does this refer to? This I'm not really sure how to understand it.
So it'd be the action of, in the sense of acting with qualities, with this.
Well, until here we have been using qualities as being the qualities of the mind, speech, and body of Manjushri that were in the praise. And then we were saying that reciting this praise this and that time will bring us those qualities, and out of them we'll acquire them in this and that way. So I've been using qualities with that meaning, specific meaning, until here. And then all of a sudden we're talking about the action or the function of quality. And so I'm not really sure what this means. Is it referring to the qualities of the speech and mind of Manjushri, or does it refer to the specific qualities of the 5 faculties? And why are we talking here about this action? One solution might be that the action of possessing these 5 faculties is that the obstructing factors cannot harm us anymore, prevent us from doing what we want. It could be that it's that, but I'm not 100% sure.
But you were saying that in his comment that it was that one was able to to reach a level where the obstructing factors would not be able to
harm,
to obstruct our own more
the thing that we do,
enlightened
not yet enlightened,
not necessarily enlightened, but more wisdom,
on the path.
Yes, more
practice on the path. Yes, so this is the meaning of what the strength, the faculties stand for. This is an explanation of what the meaning of faculty, the word faculties, in the 5 faculties. But I'm not sure how to really understand this Yonten Gichele, so the action of the qualities, because it seems to be outside of the list of the 5 faculties. So it could be that it's just that, but it could be that it's referring to the qualities of the mind, speech, and body that are found in the praise. And since I'm not sure, I want to ask the Kempo. But here again, so the way it is written in Tibetan, it's like the same structure as the color of the telephone. And so it is the function or the action of the qualities. So there's not really the possibility of understanding it as what we would do if we had the qualities. Okay. Okay. Any other question? Either from now or from last time, or Also, something that is interesting to notice here is that when we look at what is the main cause and what is the auxiliary condition for the 5-part and the 10 bhumis, then we can see that the 5 parts are more linked with the realizing of the emptiness and the realization of the person, of the wisdom, whereas the 10 bhumis are more related with the great compassion and the activity for sentient beings. Usually, people have the idea that these are simply 2 different ways of categorizing the path, 5-part or 10 bhumis, and then it's, besides different ways of categorizing, there's not so much difference. But here, Gyame Khyentse Wangpa gives us a clear understanding of how they differ. And the 5 parts being related to the ultimate bodhicitta, and the 10 bhumis being related to the relative bodhicitta. Yes, and so for my choice of using acting as the main cause, it is here in the translation for the Tibetan word che. So che, which is the past tense of che, which means to do. So doing the main cause and then doing the auxiliary condition. Oh, since we have it there, then we doing the second one is implied because che only occurs one time. And then we can acting as and doing. Let's see what the dictionary says about the main cause. Substantial cause, obtaining cause, perpetuating cause. The reason why they choose substantial cause is found here in this definition in Tibetan, which is the fact that the result of oneself is mainly developed from the continuation of one's own substance. So the grain of barley is the substantial cause because it's the continuity of what composes the grain of barley is going to be the cause of the substance of the sprout. Nyerlen. Just out of curiosity. Dictionary. Cumulative. Oh. Okay. Okay. Then the act of taking for oneself appreciating. Appropriating for oneself. Perpetuating cause. Yeah, so this seems to be the Sanskrit equivalent of Nyerlen Upadana. Taking for oneself. Cause, motive, material cause. Nyerlen. Material cause. Yeah, Main cause or material cause. I think here in this, yeah, no. Obtaining cause. Obtaining cause. If you put the main cause, it's very obvious. People will understand right away. But it takes out some of the details. If you put perpetuating cause, then it becomes very difficult to understand.
In Sanskrit is literally means material.
No, it means to appropriate oneself. Here, upadana. The act of taking for oneself. Nyorlempa, it is to take for oneself. So actually, the result is taking for itself the main cause. So the sprout is taking for itself the matter of the seed.
Yes, but but it's material. It's not. That's why they say it's here in some dictionaries, Wisdom Library, and
yes, there is, yes,
because there's this aspect of being a material thing.
Yes,
no.
Yes, but the problem with material cause is that you're ruling out everything of the mind.
Oh, and here we cannot.
And you have, for example, here, especially in this context, we are talking about the great compassion being either a material cause or main cause or an auxiliary condition. So the great compassion belongs to has no matter at all, and yet it is being used as being the main cause or the material cause. So that's why actually people stopped using material cause. It could work, but in the context of sprouts and flowers and trees and these kind of things, when there is matter that is involved, then it works. But since we have to apply it also to the mind, then it is problematic.
Substantial then.
Yeah, substantial.
But anyway, anyway, substantial is not going to.
Yeah.
To.
Yes, it's not helping the reader. This I agree, but the source text itself is not helping the reader by using some jargon, because Nyerlingigyu and Lijikjibiken is also jargon that Tibetans will not know about. It's also not helping the reader. Nyerlingigyu.
But the auxiliary then, does it have also a Sanskrit?
Where? Which one?
The other, the auxiliary.
Auxiliary. Yes, it must have some Sanskrit origin because it was also made in here. That it must be kind of more or less the same, because the Nyalingi is a calque of the Sanskrit, and so Hejinjeviken must also be. And J is to do. So the condition that does being together, Henchik is together. So together with the main cause, then there is the water, there's the warmth, there's the soil. All of these are the company of the main cause to bring the sprout. So they are kind of going together and helping the main cause. And when you talk about auxiliaries, usually in grammar context, and an auxiliary verb is a verb that works together with another one in order to help it. So yeah, it looks like correct translation, auxiliary condition. Okay, just Tenji chicken, what is the, yes, Sahakari Pratyaya. Let's see what Sanskrit dictionary says for that. Didn't find anything. What about if I put Ra? Yes. Acting with cooperating.
Cooperation.
Yeah. Assistance. So auxiliary works quite well.
Also a mango tree.
Yes.
I have a question. The Dundam Senkil Aten, can it be understood instead of the Bodhisattva vow, like generated, like relying, or once is generated, the ultimate bodhicitta, taking the care as, the past, instead of bodhicitta vow.
Let's see what the dictionary says with this spelling. Senke.
Yeah.
Chitot the mind generation of the mind of enlightenment. Senke Boncho. So it seems to be really this kind of, the Senke ni yeah, it is just bodhicitta.
Yeah. Okay.
And moreover, this is supported by the fact that the two bodhicittas here, yes, Chanchusemni ki Gyujangpa Kanshiki is Chanchusemni. So here Kemba was saying that these two bodhicittas were the relative and the ultimate. So since on top we have the relative and ultimate bodhicittas, then when we actually have the ultimate bodhicitta and the relative bodhicitta, should be that one, the Nobsenke. And K itself, let's see, what is.
Wondering because I think you mentioned it was the past, so I thought, oh, if it's the past of K, then we could say that.
Let's see what it is. K letters. Let's say K. It is past and future. Both of them have the same spelling. Okay, so already 55 now. So